Testing, testing. No, or else I assumed she wouldn't have emailed me and asked if it was okay.
We thought we left enough room.
You want to be here instead? Okay.
Y'all wanna come
We'll
up?
share. Okay.
And then I forgot my official sign-in sheet, so I'm gonna make a quick one, unofficial one. So if you could just sign your name and
Right here.
what address you're here about it are going to speak or present. Where are the crutches? You don't need crutches?
Well, I'm supposed to, but I got off of.
You make me feel like a weenie because I was on crutches and with the boot for so long. You don't even have a boot. I guess.
Know. I went to him about a week ago and to, where's your crutch? Where's your boot? And I can't do it.
I had never broken a bone before, so I was terrified to do anything.
I broke in my hand, my arm.
I was about to say you probably.
Yeah. Never broke a leg.
Already. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Phil Dixon, Chairman of the Board of Architectural Review, and we welcome you to our meeting. It's now just past 6 o'clock on the 7th of February, 2023. The time is scheduled for our meeting to begin. Depending on the size or complexity of the project, each applicant has the opportunity to present a conceptual or master plan for our review prior to committing funds for a full set of design plans and specifications. Approval of a concept means that we might agree with the concept while disagreeing with some of the details. It also means that each phase of the project must be submitted at a later date, once the plans are more fully developed, to obtain the board's final approval for the individual portion of the project. Hopefully, any disagreements will have been worked out before the project applicant comes back before the board. Some of the projects being reviewed this evening have been submitted before and are now ready to be considered for further approval. For those of you who may be new to our meeting, our charge is to look at each project purely on the aesthetics, design, architecture, height, mass, and scale, and in harmony with the historical district in the town of Somerville. We look at the overall street scene. Although we are not required to solicit comments from anyone other than the applicant, the board members, except for demolition projects, we usually choose to allow others to express comments that might help influence our decision making after the applicant has presented the project and the board members have resolved any questions that they might have. Because of the number of projects we have to review, we usually ask anyone to try to limit their comments to not more than about 5 minutes. As always, we will review each submittal in the order that it was submitted. However, as a first order of business, we must approve the minutes of our last meeting, which were sent to the board members for review prior to this meeting. Are there any changes that we need to make, or do I have a motion that they be accepted?
I'll make a motion to accept.
I see. All right, all in favor, please respond. David?
Aye.
Beth?
Aye.
Nancy Jean?
Aye.
Jane?
Aye.
And mine is aye. So fine, they're good to go then. Our first project on tonight's list is 201 Central Avenue. The enclosure of a carport in addition of wood deck to existing single family residence. If we had windows here, you could just point out there and say, there it is. Come up and talk to us about it. All the people here, are you? Come on. Tell us about it.
Okay, great. My name is Mike Taylor. I'm presenting for the Dungans and 201 Carolina, right? Central. I was in here, I think, 2 meetings back with this project and got some comments and have made some changes. So on the last one, on the exterior, we had brick. We've changed that up to a board and batten on the outside. We went with a brick skirting, which we had before, to match the existing house. So really, you know, we changed some windows in the front too. I know on the front elevation, there was some dislike with some double windows up there. So we have changed those to single windows. And we've brought them off the corners a little bit to match more of what the house looks like. They were kind of pushed up close to the corners and wasn't getting positive feedback on that. So we went with this single windows in the front. Also, we had a little roof over the door area, which made it look more of a grander type entrance. So we've taken the roof off of that front. We've just got the stairs, and also on the last one as well. Didn't like the roof, didn't like the double windows, didn't like the brick. Didn't like the ground level floor, so we've redone all that. So now we've got stairs going up to that door. We've done away with the double windows. We've done away with the roof, and instead of the brick, we've went with the board and batten. I think we've labeled all the details in there. We're going with 12-inch spacing on the board and batten, 2-inch on the battens. The corners will be 1x4s to match the house. To recap, the house is with metal trim around the windows, metal corners. The eaves are wood with some nice detail, crown molding, nice frieze board. The garage, the detail on the eaves and the frieze board will match the detail on the house exactly. The windows, we've got 2/2 windows that'll match the house. We were going to go with vinyl windows. They'll have exterior grids. They'll be 2/2 match. The existing windows on the house are capped in metal trim, but they are a 1x4 profile. So we were going to go with the fiber cement for the board and batten, and then around the windows, wrap it with fiber cement, and there'd be a slope sill to match what's on the house. Once again, the sill on the house is wrapped in metal as well.
Y'all let me know if you want me to jump around on pictures and drawings.
You have a detail on the windows on the house. It'll- The existing,
Yeah,
What?
there's a little picture.
There is, yeah, right there.
okay, so it does have a sill.
Slope zone.
Yeah, and it's probably not as thick as that, but once they cap it with metal. Yeah, we were gonna match the 4-inch on the side of the window and put a slope sill on it. To be made of fiber cement to match the rest of the board and batten on the outside of the enclosed carport area.
Our note says that you're changing the stairs to wood so you don't go over the impervious surface rule. Is that correct?
That was, when we talked.
Yes.
So the lot is currently impervious, from what I can gather. Just a way to avoid having to address that issue and bring it into compliance. Because these, you know, the carport's existing, the deck would be pervious. The wood stairs would resolve that issue, so
I know over is over, but in the large scheme of things, we're talking about 50 square feet, maybe not even that much.
And honestly, that's something, if y'all didn't have an opinion either way on wood versus brick, which I know we often approve that as leaving it up to the homeowner on what they want to decide. You know, that can be handled at permitting. You guys don't have to worry about the impervious issue. I just
Okay.
wanted to make that note because it's something that we
And the hand railings, the ballast, the railings themselves, we're all gonna match the ballast on the front porch. The railings have got a nice little beaded detail across the front, like you see in most older houses around here. There's a V cap on top. So all of that detail would match on that front porch and the proposed porch on the left side, which would be the west second side. So all of those details there with the railings, ballast, would all match the front porch. And the color scheme too, just to talk about the color scheme, the ballast, the railings will be white. The top V cap would be a gray, which is currently what's on the front porch. And then, the decking itself was going to be painted to match the porch color, which is a darker gray, I believe. But all of those colors are gonna come together to match what they've got. That's 5-quarter decking board that's underneath. For the skirting. We'll probably space them out about 3/4 of an inch, just so you can't see underneath the deck, but those are 5-quarter decking boards. That are stood up vertically. And then we've got an HVAC unit that's just sitting out in the open right now. Wanted to add some screening around that as well, and that's that detail on the right that's shown up there. And also on this side, there's currently 2 windows where that new door opening is proposed. There we go. So removing those 2 windows and putting in a double door with a transom so we can keep the header height of all the windows the same. The front door is a 15 light, so we were sticking with that on the carport enclosure and on this side. To keep it all the same, and like the doors on the enclosure on the carport side, that's going to be vinyl 2/2, and then these I was gonna propose fiberglass doors that would have external grids as well. Just because it's gonna get a lot of weather up there, so wouldn't want it to rot or anything. So we put a steel door with rust, put a wood door with rotten. And once everything's painted white to match everything else, you won't know what it is. Anyway, that's kind of the details on that.
Is there any type of lighting on either the front or this side porch?
I don't know of any that's over on the left, on the west second side. And we did not really talk about any lighting on an outside door.
I know when we looked at the addition 2 months ago, there was lighting out there. I was just wondering. And was there any way to make these 2 windows on facing central symmetrical? The right one,
Yeah, they are,
they are, okay.
right, and
I guess it's the door that's not centered then.
I see it now. It is, we kept it off the corners, I think, pretty close to the same. The door is a little to the left, there is more room to the right. Spent a lot of time talking with the homeowner and, the draftsman to put this together, and really the way the floor plan lays out, we can't get it perfectly centered.
Everything's so perfectly balanced on the house. That
Yeah,
just kind of stood out to me.
yeah, with the trying to
Through the shower.
the shower
Yeah.
and everything to line up. You know, we did make a bunch of changes.
Oh, yeah.
The double windows, the front porch, raising it up. So there was a lot of concessions, but I certainly know that it's not right in the middle.
Mhm.
So I don't know if there's anything really that we can do about that. We'd end up losing the shower or that tub area.
Right, right.
Any other questions? Do we have any visitors that wish to make any comments? Can I have a motion?
I so move.
Second,
I'll second.
please respond with a yes or no, whether you agree with it. David,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Nancy Jean,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
and mine is yes. We wish you well with it.
Thank you. I'll make sure to look real good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next project is 303 West Richardson.
They had car issues and had a tire blowout, so they could not be here on 26, I think. So I am going to just go ahead and explain what's going on here since it's already done.
Why don't we let the folks sit here, present theirs, then we'll go back and pick that one up.
Sure. Go right ahead. Y'all are up.
311 on Gum Street.
Good evening. My name is Jody Crosby. I am with Crosby Creations and I did the architectural design for this structure.
I'm J.R. Kramer, I'm a landscape architect.
Let me fill out my information. Oh, 311.
These are just some updated site plans that were sent to me today. A lot of the information on here really probably won't mean anything. Because it's a lot more to do with the site. But just so you can look at those while you're looking at the elevations of the house.
So the architecture of the plan is pretty simple and intrinsic of old Somerville. It's roughly a 3,000 square foot house with the master being on the main living floor. We have a very unique lot and typically I don't have a landscape architect with me to sort of go over that. So I will defer to JR on that, but I did want to elaborate on it a little bit because of the unique topography on this lot. We did have a very unusual situation with being able to sort of make this look like a crawl space, raised slab on the front, and then it grading down towards the side and full height on the back. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And I know that JR is incorporating some retaining walls, and again, I'll let him defer to the site conditions as far as that goes. We have some pretty minimalistic detailing, classic windows, 4/1 grid pattern. I know that you guys didn't get a whole lot of details because we really wanted to just get this in front of you and get a general idea of how you liked it, what you might like to see different, what we might need to enhance. So we're looking at doing a stucco foundation, treated band, hardy plank siding, treated corners, and architectural shingles on the roof. And that's the super basic overview.
What is the material used on the siding?
It'll be hardy plank. Yes.
Can you do a detail on the skirting around the house, make it look like there are piers as opposed to being flat?
That would be a very unique detail. I would have to try to figure out with the structural engineer how we would do that because it's an 8-inch CMU continuous wall. And I don't know how to do that without it being a stucco projection, and then my band would have to project over deeper than that. So I'm not sure that we would be able to execute that, but I can tell you that we will have heavy landscaping around the foundation of the house.
And the house sits, so it's kind of end to the street, correct?
I'm sorry.
The house, sit. I guess it faces the street then. Okay,
Yeah, the garage is on the right-hand side.
okay.
It's Slide 26.
I know my computer.
So where is the tree that you're gonna take? That's,
Problematic.
yeah,
Um,
which one?
this tree, and it's actually not a sycamore, right? It's a river bird, and I did go out and take a look at it.
Hmm.
This beautiful tree will not be. But our arborist actually went out there too. I haven't had a chance to talk to him about it, but I know enough to know when tree doesn't look very good.
Can you just, Becca, just go through the, I guess, the elevations of the house? And this is not for final approval tonight. This is just.
Correct. This is just for consent, just enough to get an idea of what you guys might like to see different on the final. And
Is there a fireplace in the house? I was just not seeing the
There's
chimney.
a chimney.
it's a linear gas fireplace, so it'll be a direct vent with a flue pipe.
Evil gas.
Right.
I like it.
In other words, you don't have to drag wood in the house and make a huge mess.
It's much better.
Bring more than wood in the house when you bring it in.
If you don't want the wood, you can cut it and let me know. I'll come around the corner and get it.
Becca, can you show the garage side? So is there just like a side door into the garage, or you just enter the garage through the garage doors?
Isn't there one off?
So
the
there's
back?
one on the ground floor in the back, going under that back covered porch. So there will be a man door. And then there's on the rear elevation, one more, you'll see that.
Yeah, there it is.
See
right
the
there.
back door behind the stairs, that's at the main wall. And then there's also a small roll-up door, which would most likely be where they would be able to get their lawnmower in and out and that sort of thing in the backyard. But that is on the back.
And from the front of the lot, does the house look like? You don't realize that it drops off that much. Is that correct?
Go to slide 33 for me if you don't mind.
It was hard for me to pull this up on my computer. 'Cause
Yeah.
It was so small.
So here might give you a little bit of a better idea. And when we come back for the final, I would be more than happy to do more of a front view from the street so that you can see a little bit better. And then we'll have better developed plans with this retention wall that I sort of visualized, so that I can incorporate the proper height for the retaining walls and we can get a better visual of exactly what it will look like.
And generally, we prefer garage doors that look like carriage doors rather than roll up.
Would you like me to add some carriage, hinges and
Yeah.
handles? Okay, no problem.
Are there not mullions on the lower part of the windows?
No, this grid pattern would be a 4/1, so it'd be clear on the bottom, correct?
I think it looks all
Any-
right to me.
Any other?
Yeah, conceptually,
Yep.
I think it's a good looking floor plan.
Mhm.
The house, and I think your attention to detail is headed in the right direction. Thank you very much. You guys want to hear from the?
Sure.
Sure.
Where do you want me to?
You can just go to like the drainage plan. I think that's we can maybe go to the demolition, that way they can see where that tree is on the lot.
This street,
Yes. It is, yeah.
they have the demolition.
Okay,
plan,
they can,
because I-
yeah, so just, let's go to that sheet.
I think it's the first sheet.
Yeah, just get L102. And go to my L102 sheet. Yeah, that, sorry, you have it. They have it.
yes.
I forgot it.
They've got the old one, right?
Yeah,
No, it's the most recent one.
it's the most recent. So yeah, so you,
Experience and everything.
what we have done is pulled together a drainage plan, looking at the grades to kind of get an idea of the heights of the retaining wall and where the walls need to be. So you can see that on the, on plan south, we have a retaining wall along the property lines. That way the driveway is going down. And then we have another wall up closer to the house to hold that grade back. So that way from street view, it's all consistent elevation. I think that was the biggest things. We wanted to make sure we're not impacting drainage wise onto the neighbors. Because all the water is really flowing back towards the parkway.
With all the rain we've had, has the drainage been an issue, the water been an issue on that lot? It has?
Came out on the worst day.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's great.
Fortunately, the canal is right back behind it.
I do have an email I need to read, but I'm just having trouble pulling it up.
I have one more comment based on the grading and the drainage. You had just kind of came to me, you had asked about being able to sort of make it look like a crawl space in the front. Because of the slope of the lot, that's actually why we chose to make it a raised slab in the front. Because we were always going to be fighting, trying to keep any runoff water from the street out of the crawl space of the house. So we'll work very closely on a landscape plan, something that will definitely enhance the foundation on the front of the house. So it doesn't, I know it's very plain in these drawings, but we'll work through that.
I did have a comment from Mr. Steve Mount of 301 South Gum Street. He had no remarks or objections to the plans submitted. The only note he wanted to add that he's also shared with our engineering department is that the south side of Gum experiences property flooding. And the tree loss on state/church property between our property and Berlin Myers has been significant. Drainage under the Parkway to Sawmill Branch has been clogged or was not installed properly. Neighbors have visited state DOT without solution, which really not specific to your property, but he wanted to make it known, which this has been before TRC, which I think I put in my staff notes. I can't remember at this point. But engineering has already looked at the site and the retaining wall was really the only request that they put in, so. It's pretty clear that the water, if it's gonna go anywhere, would go straight back. Because you can see at the back of the property here, it actually is partially in a flood zone, so. And if you go drive by the property, you can see, it's even more evident when you walk it.
I don't have a problem with the concept.
It's important there that because all the drainage from the entire block, all the way from Magnolia,
Mhm.
comes right back that way and right into that part of them. But it does run off pretty well. Thank goodness.
Okay, so we don't.
I
vote
live
on-
just around the corner.
We don't vote on this, do we?
No. Do we do a vote or?
No, if you have any other comments you'd like to give the applicants, I'd ask you to go ahead and do that. Otherwise, they'll get working on the comments that you already provided.
Concentrate on any particular part of the plans or anything like that, or when they come back for final approval?
One thing and I think you've addressed it in your drawings, but I can't tell, is we really want to see a true sill beneath the windows with stile and rails and a cap on the windows and corner boards, which you've already addressed.
And are your handrails on the porches, are those going to be wood? And I guess the columns, should ask that about the columns as well.
And y'all don't have to have an answer today. It's just something that they would want to see in the plans.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're,
maybe that's a,
yeah,
So
I know what?
white powder coated spindles and then a stained mahogany top rail. And we can definitely hone in on those details for the final plans for y'all. Is there any issue with powder coated aluminum? It looks like wrought iron.
Yeah, other than the fact it doesn't stay powder coated long.
Well, if you don't like it, tell me now and
No.
we'll figure something else out.
That's more for the homeowner.
So.
Powder coating is not real permanent. And once it starts to go to hell, there's not a whole lot you can do about it.
So I want low to no maintenance. That's definitely taken into consideration.
Paint works well.
yeah, and we would, I guess, want to see the brick color maybe on the front steps. And
We'll have all the colors to present.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
That's-
I think you're headed in the right
Yeah,
direction.
I think it's a good looking house.
Yeah, I think it'll fit really well in the neighborhood.
it does have the general appearance of a Somerville cottage. Y'all got a lot to do with the way that land slopes back. I know that.
So we don't need to take a vote or anything.
No, I will send y'all, either if you want me to type up the comments and send them to you, or I can send you the video link tomorrow of this meeting. Whichever you would prefer, I can do both. Just,
If you could type it up.
Yeah. oh, sure, of course, I'd be happy to.
take notes too, so.
It always helps to have more ears than just one set, so. All right, well, I'll
Okay.
send those to y'all tomorrow, and then if you have any questions for me, just let me know.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank y'all
Thank
for
you for
coming.
bringing it to us. It's been
Okey-dokey.
been an empty lot for a long time.
I tell you what, we don't have many infill lots left, or we're running out in the historic district at least. We can always annex more into the town itself, but
Don't change your rules on the bigger lots.
on the bigger lots,
Yeah. Maintain that flag lot law. No flag lots.
no, those are not good. All right, 303 West Richardson Avenue, they had come before y'all a couple meetings ago, probably like 6 months ago now, with a pavilion and deck that had been built, and without approval or permits. One of the conditions of the after the fact approval was that they presented the design of this brick outdoor fireplace and chimney to y'all before going ahead and building it, which they did not do. So it is currently built. Whoa, let me zoom out here. This is behind the house, right at the end of that deck. So this is from the street with, and again, sorry, my mouse keeps freezing here. It is right here. So this is kind of beyond 303 further west, looking in on the lot. Here's the back. Another picture. They did receive citations for this and fines.
So what does that mean?
You don't do it again, probably,
Just
like the
they're
guy.
not a fine or anything?
Yeah, typically, so for y'all, if someone does something without BAR approval or permits, it depends on what it is. So another example with this property, they started building the fence in front of the house. So up here about where you can see kind of like the sand there.
Everything they've built without permission and then come and ask for forgiveness. Right?
I can't say everything, but in the
Most.
last year, yes.
Uh,
So with the way we handle this, typically we give them time to make things right. If it's their first time around, you know, if they submit everything, we offer to waive the fees and cancel the citation. But at this point, because it had been too many strikes, they were fined, and also had to take out that entire fence and move it back. The,
Get their attention.
Apparently didn't.
so that's where we're at.
My comment says if this had been presented, I would have approved it.
Okay,
One thing that I think if we're gonna approve it after the fact, we need to make them take off the bricks that have holes in them and replace them with solid bricks. You know, having a piece of masonry that is that substantial and basically very good looking, to have bricks that have 3 holes in them filled with mortar, I think is nasty.
Your eyes are better than mine.
you're talking about these.
Yeah, I'm
end
talking-
bricks.
Oh, I see them. I see them.
Yeah, every place where it turns a corner.
Yeah, that's,
Mhm.
that's a good.
And you know, every brick company that makes bricks makes them both solid and this way. And so they should be able to go get the appropriate bricks. And since they violated our rules, I think we ought to make as a condition of approving this, that they take care of that.
I can go along with that.
Okay. Do y'all have any other questions or comments?
And it's very stark.
I know, I see
it now.
No, I agree with David. Right,
It's like,
there's such a
It's like putting, it's like putting reflectors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suspect, I suspect all the rest of the bricks have 3 holes in them as well. You just don't see them.
Right.
Oh, no, they all do, but they do make solid bricks for
Mhm.
this particular application.
Like it's mostly just the sides.
Yeah, there are not
Mhm.
very many of them.
corners.
No. Maybe 8,
No, more than that.
no more than that, more than that,
There's
at least a dozen.
2,
maybe more.
4, 6
Mhm.
on each side, and then I don't know what. Look at the front view of it. Where the fire pit is. Are there any visible there? No, it's probably only a dozen or so.
Mhm.
I'll have to inspect it anyway, because it's a condition of the approval, so I'll make sure I find all the
But it's
holy bits.
an otherwise handsome piece.
Mhm.
So I make that motion as a condition of giving them approval after the fact. They replace the bricks that have visible construction holes in them with solid bricks.
Is that a proper attachment on top? of
No,
that? Okay,
No.
that needs
it's
to be
just-
fixed.
it's
They
just-
might have been cleaning it.
Yeah,
Oh, true.
the chimney sweepers. They're that
Do I have a
There's that
second?
day.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, please. Respond for me. David,
I
Beck,
Yes, I.
Nancy Jean,
Aye.
Jane,
Yes, aye.
and I'll go along with you too. So.
That's
you have
all, that's all we have today, so if we can get a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
second.